Put the toy gun down before you hurt yourself, little girl. The room erupted in laughter, a wall of arrogant, uniformed men towering over a 13-year-old black girl. Colonel Riker leaned back, smirking. Maybe I'll let you fire one shot, so everyone can see why kids don't belong on my range. She didn't blink. She stepped forward, placed her father's Medal of Honor on his desk, and said, 10 shots, 50 meters. If I miss even one, I'll walk away forever. Riker grinned at the officers. In less than a minute, their laughter would die, replaced by stunned, silent fear. The air inside the officers' club at Fort Brenton was thick with cigar smoke and arrogance. Senior brass lounged around polished oak tables, whiskey glasses clinking as they watched Colonel Riker toy with the young girl in front of him. Her name was Alina Graves, 13 years old, thin, but standing ramrod straight. On her chest, pinned neatly to her faded field jacket, was her father's Medal of Honor. In her hands, a weathered envelope containing signed permissions from the military family office. "I'm requesting access to the firing range, sir," she said, her voice steady but low. "Today marks 3 years since my father's last mission. I want to honor him the way he taught me, by shooting." A slow grin spread across Riker's face. "You think you can just stroll in here and play soldier?" He looked around the room for approval. "Gentlemen, this little girl wants to show us how dangerous she is with a gun." The laughter was instant and merciless. "Go play with dolls. Shouldn't you be in school? Maybe we can give her a water pistol." Alina didn't move. She'd been hardened by years of being underestimated, by classmates who mocked her, by adults who doubted her. She remembered her father's words, "Calm is strength. Make them regret opening their mouths before you open yours." "With respect, sir," she said, "my request follows every regulation. I have supervision approved. I've completed every safety course. All I need is your signature." Major Klein, seated beside Riker, chuckled. She memorized the rulebook. How precious. For a moment, something flickered in Riker's eyes. Annoyance, maybe even a hint of unease. But he buried it under a sneer. "Fine. We'll make a deal. You hit 3 out of 10 targets at 50 meters. I sign your paper. You fail, you never set foot near my range again." Alina's reply was immediate. "I accept." The walk to the firing range was a gauntlet of whispered insults. She'll cry before the first shot. She won't even lift the pistol. What they didn't know was that for the past 3 years, every Saturday before sunrise, Alina had been here. Sergeant Vega, a quiet maintenance soldier who'd served with her father, would unlock the range before anyone else arrived. For hours, she practiced with discipline far beyond her age. Her father, Samuel Graves, had been the best marksman on base, unofficially, because his skill was legend, not statistic. And he had passed every lesson to her. At the range, Riker swept his arm toward a table of weapons. "Pick your tool for failure. I'd suggest the smallest one, so you don't drop it." Alina ran her fingers along the options, before stopping on a Glock 19, her father's weapon of choice. She checked the magazine, cleared the chamber, and tested the trigger with a fluid grace that made Sergeant Vega's heart skip. "Well, well," Riker said, smirking. "Daddy's tricks won't save you now." She ignored the jab. Standing at the line, she took her stance, feet planted, shoulders relaxed, breathing measured. The air shifted. The laughter softened. Even the wind seemed to pause. 10 shots, Riker said, his voice loud enough for the crowd. 3 hits is all you need. Alina closed her eyes for a moment, hearing her father's voice in her mind. Breathe between the heartbeats. Let the target come to you. When her eyes opened, they were steady and cold. Begin. The first shot cracked through the air. A perfect hit. Second shot. Another hit. Third, fourth, fifth. By the 7th shot, Riker's grin had faded. The officers had stopped whispering. The 8th landed dead center, then the 9th. Alina adjusted her stance for the faintest gust of wind before the 10th shot. The correction was so subtle that only Vega noticed. And it made his chest tighten with awe. The 10th shot echoed like history being written. She lowered her weapon, engaged the safety, and turned to Riker. 10 shots complete as ordered, sir. Vega stepped forward with binoculars. His expression changed from curiosity to shock to open respect. All 10 center mass, he said, voice carrying across the range. Grouping so tight it looks like one whole. A ripple of disbelief spread through the crowd. Majors, captains, sergeants all craned their necks to see. Riker snatched the binoculars, but the sight drained the color from his face. "This is impossible," he muttered. "It's called training," Alina replied, "and respect. My father taught me both." Word of the display spread like wildfire across the base. By afternoon, videos of Alina's shooting were everywhere. Soldiers who had laughed that morning now spoke her name with respect. Veterans shook her hand. For Riker, the humiliation was public and irreversible. The footage of him mocking her played alongside her flawless shots. An investigation into his conduct unearthed years of discriminatory behavior. Within months, he was stripped of his command and reassigned to a remote outpost, far from any position of influence. Major Klein and the others who had jeered were reprimanded and sent to mandatory conduct review programs. Their careers stalled. For Alina, the opposite happened. She was invited into the Army Exceptional Talent Program, becoming the youngest junior precision marksmanship instructor in military history. The firing range was renamed the Samuel Graves Range, with a bronze plaque telling the story of the day his daughter silenced an entire base with her skill. Every Saturday, she still arrived before dawn, not to prove herself, but to honor her promise. She'd stand on the line, aim downrange, and let her father's voice guide her through each perfect shot, because she'd learned the truth early. Some people will laugh at you, some will try to break you, but if you keep your calm, your training, and your fire, one day they'll have no choice but to stand in silence and watch you win. If this story lit a fire in you, show your support. Smash that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop a comment telling us where in the world you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories where the underestimated rise and rewrite the rules.